This video we'll be studying about nitric acid. So let's start with the laboratory method of preparation of nitric acid. So there are two reactions that have to be remembered. So the first is potassium nitrate. It is also known as niter, and it is reacted with H2SO4 in the concentrated form at temperature below temperature 200 degrees Celsius to give KHSO4, but also known as potassium bisulfate plus HNO3 in the vapor form. And then we have NaNO3, also known as chili saltpeter, and it is added to H2SO4 in the concentrated form below temperatures of 200 degrees Celsius to give sodium bisulfate plus HNO3 in the vapor form, nitric acid. So let's read some conditions regarding the laboratory method. Concentrated H2SO4 sulfuric acid is used since it is a strong non-volatile acid. Concentrated HCl or hydrochloric acid is not used since being volatile itself is not used to displace another volatile acid because the reaction will be very explosive and messy. Complete apparatus is made of glass only since the vapors of nitric acid being highly corrosive attack substances such as cork, rubber, etc. Okay, let's move on to the reaction. What happens when you heat the reaction above 200 degrees Celsius instead of heating the reaction below 200 degrees Celsius? High temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius are not used since they may cause damage to glass apparatus, further decomposition of acid, and formation of a hard residual crust which of the corresponding sulfate Na2SO4 or K2SO4, which being a poor conductor of heat sticks to the glass and cannot be easily removed from the apparatus. So there are many points in this para which you have to remember. So they may ask that what are the disadvantages of heating the reaction above 200 degrees Celsius. So this is one point that you have to remember. Okay, let's move on. Decomposition of nitric acid results in formation of reddish brown NO2, which we have studied in the earlier video of ammonia. NO2 which remains dissolved in the acid, thereby imparting a yellow brownish tinge to it. This phenomenon is substantial at high temperatures. So HNO3 decomposes into nitrogen dioxide, water and oxygen, and this is a reddish brown compound. Yellow brown tinge can be removed by bubbling of air or carbon dioxide, which drives out reddish brown nitrogen dioxide gas and further oxidizes nitrogen dioxide to nitric acid. Then dilution with water causes dissolution of NO2 gas, which is soluble in water. Okay, let's move on to the Ostwald's process. Now there are three steps to remember. The first step is to remember this reaction. Ammonia plus oxygen in the presence of catalyst platinum from 700 to 800 degrees Celsius gives nitrogen monoxide plus 6H2O, and the triangle is given, which means that the reaction is exothermic. Now the catalyst is used is platinum gauge from 700 to 800 degrees Celsius, and the nature is exothermic as shown over here. Now step 2 is nitrogen monoxide plus oxygen from at 50 degrees Celsius gives nitrogen dioxide, and the temperature is around 50 degrees Celsius. So if you may have observed, first the reaction temperature was 700 to 800 degrees Celsius, but now it has been cooled down to 50 degrees Celsius. Step 3, 4NO2 plus 2H2O plus O2. So all these compounds you add together to form HNO3, 4HNO3, also known as nitric acid, and the temperature is ordinary temperature. Now let's move on to the conditions and reasons for this industrial process of manufacture of nitric acid. A higher ratio of air is used, 1:10 by volume. So 1:10 by volume, since air is needed and used in all three main reactions in manufacturing of nitric acid, so you need to use more volume of air. And the second point is only about 21% or around 1/5 by volume of air is oxygen. Let's move on. Low temperatures are used since they facilitate easy oxidation of nitric oxide due to nitrogen dioxide, minimizes the chance of any decomposition of nitrogen dioxide which may take place at higher temperatures. Quartz is also used. Quartz is used since it is an acid resistant. Quartz is packed in layers since it slows down movement of the gaseous NO2 entering from below and initiates better solvation of nitrogen dioxide in the water. So this is what the diagrammatic representation of the entire reaction looks like. So let's move on. Let's move on to the reactions. Now what these three reactions represent? They represent the oxidizing nature of nitric acid. So copper plus nitric acid gives copper nitrate plus water plus nitrogen dioxide. Then you have carbon plus HNO3 nitric acid, which gives CO2 plus H2O plus 4NO2. And please do remember that this is hot and concentrated. This is hot and concentrated and applies to each one of these acids. And then we have sulphur, which reacts with nitric acid to give H2SO4 plus water plus nitrogen. Now let's move on to the brown ring test. So it's quite simple. To the aqueous solution of nitrate or nitric acid, add freshly prepared saturated solution of iron sulfate. Now add concentrated sulfuric acid carefully from the sides of the tube, so that it would not fall dropwise into the test tube. This is also a very important reason, and question based on this could be asked in the exam. Why is concentrated sulfuric acid added to the sides of the test tube? So the answer is so that it should not fall dropwise in the test tube. Now cool the test tube in water. A brown ring appears at the junction of the two liquids. So this is the diagrammatic representation of brown ring test.